Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are working on the flexibility in the lower body, leg stretches galore. So we're starting standing today. Tailbone is tucked under, long through our spine, relaxing our shoulders down, open through the chest, but we're not sticking the front ribs out, relaxing our arms by our sides, palms are facing out, closing our eyes, taking this time to focus on your breath, deepening the inhale, lengthening the exhale. On your next inhale, circle your arms up towards the sky, palms meeting the top, and exhale lower. Inhaling energy for today's practice. Exhaling any fatigue from your body, any stale air from your lungs. Inhaling deeply, lifting the arms, interlacing the fingers, stretching up through center. From here, we're going to take a tip over towards the right side. Stretching out through the left side of the body, bringing some flexibility to our spine. To help with the balance, you might want to take your feet hip distance apart, just to make you feel more secure. Coming back up through center, let's take the tip over to the other side, so lengthening through the middle, taking our lean over to the left, stretching out through the right side of the body now. Lifting back up through center, back over to our first side. So we always want to lengthen through center before tipping over to the side. We're leaning down, but we're not leaning forwards, we're not leaning back. Imagine you're stood between two panes of glass, lengthening up through center, and taking the tip over to the side. Coming back up through the middle. Last time to each side. Using our exhale, trying to relax our body further as we tilt to the side. Inhale, charging back up through the middle. And exhale, last time over to the left. Coming back to center. Lowering down with the arms, shaking out through the shoulders so you can stay facing the way you are. I've just turned so you can see me better. We're going to bring our thumbs into the tailbone, drawing our elbows together. We're lengthening up through the spine, and we're taking a curve backwards, opening up through the front body, strengthening, bringing flexibility into the back body. Lifting back up through center, doing the opposite pose. We're coming straight into a forward fold, folding down to the ground. Keeping our legs straight if we can, or you can have a slight bend in your knees. Restacking back up through the spine, let's do those two moves again. So thumbs into the tailbone, drawing your elbows together, lengthening up through the spine, and then curving backwards, opening wide through your chest. Lifting back up through center and into our forward fold, folding down. Relaxing through the head, through the neck, relaxing through your arms. Stacking back up through the spine, thumbs into the tailbone, we lengthen on our inhale. Use our exhale to curve our body backwards. Keeping your neck long, engaging your mullet bandha, staying strong through your root muscles. Lifting back up through the middle and back into our forward fold. And lifting back up to the top. Last time through, thumbs into the tailbone, elbows drawing together as we take our curve backwards. Back to center, and the counter pose with our forward fold. Shaking your head, shaking your neck, relaxing the upper body. We're going to stay in our forward fold. If you want to take it a little bit further, we can bring the hands palms facing up under each foot, widening our elbows, bringing the weight into the toes, into the ball of the feet, and trying to fold even further, keeping your legs straight if you can. Stretching into our hamstrings, into our back body now. From here, let's release the hands and lift up into our gazing pose. So our hands are coming to our shins and we are lengthening along through the spine, through the neck, taking our shoulders away from our ears, pushing our hips back, getting a deeper stretch into the back of the legs. Engaging your Uddiyana Bandha, so belly button drawn in towards your spine to protect your back. And let's come into a shoulder stretch forward fold as well. So interlacing the hands behind the back, leading with the chest as we curve down, folding down, allowing your arms to drop overhead to the floor behind. Releasing your hands. Last few breaths in our forward fold. So what I like to do is to hug onto the legs. So I bend my knees, I wrap my arms as much as I can around the legs, and then I try and straighten the legs and pull down with the arms to get deeper into the forward fold, still trying to keep the weight into the front of the foot. Still breathing, still stretching, and releasing, lifting ourselves back up to the top. From here, let's loosen off with a sun salutation variation. So big toes together, heels together, knees together, thighs together, tailbone tucked under, stretching our arms up to the sky, and then coming straight down into our forward fold. Relaxing your head, relaxing your neck. Let's lift up into our gazing pose, hands to our shins, lengthening along the spine, lengthening along the neck, and folding back down to the ground. Hands are down, bending your knees well, stepping back with the right leg, and then with the left down into our downward dog, feet a hip distance apart. We're getting the height up through the hips. And we're going to add some movement by pedaling out through the heels. Stretching more into our calves now. Holding in the middle, let's roll through our spine and come into our plank position. Staying strong through the core as we bend at the elbows, lowering the chest down to the ground. Swimming up to our up dog and pushing back to our down dog. We're going to lengthen up with our right leg into our three-legged dog, and we are lunging through into our crescent lunge. So bringing the weight onto the legs as we take our arms up to the sky, staying low with the hips. Bringing your hands back down to the ground, stepping back into our plank, vinyasa, bending the elbows, lifting up with the chest, pushing back into our down dog. Crescent lunge on the left side, so we're going to extend up into our three-legged dog. Sweep the leg through into a lunge, planting the left foot down, getting the weight onto the legs, lifting your hands up, keeping your hips low. And releasing back down to our plank position. Bending at the elbows, lowering down with the chest, swimming up to our up dog, pushing back to down dog, and holding in your down dog just for a few breaths. From here, let's walk our feet in towards our hands, back to our forward fold. Lifting back up to the top, taking your arms with you, palms meeting at the top, and exhale lower. That is round 1 of our salutations. So round 2, taking our arms up to the sky, lengthening through before folding down to the ground. Hands to your shins, lifting up into your gazing pose. Folding back down to the ground. Hands are down, bending your knees well, lunging back with the left leg this time. Stepping back into your downward dog, getting the height through the hips. And then we can bring the movement into the legs, pedaling out through the heels. Rolling through our spine, coming into the plank position, ending at the elbows as we lower down with the chest, pushing up into our up dog, and pushing back into our down dog. Extending your right leg up to the sky, 3-legged dog, sweeping the leg through, lunging it down, taking your arms, your chest up to the sky, keeping your hips low, coming back down into our plank position, bending at the elbows, lowering down with the chest, sweeping up and pushing back, extending our left leg up to the sky this time, 3-legged dog, lunging through, taking the weight off the hands as we take the arms up to the sky, crescent lunge, pushing into our back heel, taking the arms back to the ground, stepping back to plank, bending the elbows, lowering the chest, pushing up to up dog, pushing back to down dog, holding here, and then walking your feet in towards your hands. Taking your arms, your chest back up to the sky. Palms meet at the top and exhale lower. We're going to do one more time on each side, just a little bit faster. Taking your arms up to the sky, we lengthen through and then we forward fold. Hands to our shins, lifting up into gazing pose and forward folding. Stepping back with our right leg, stepping back into our downward dog, pedaling through your heels. Rounding through your spine, coming into plank position, bending at the elbows, pushing through to our up dog, pushing back to down dog, extending our right leg up to the sky, lunging through, keeping the hips low as we extend the arms up to the sky, lowering back down into our plank position, bending the elbows, chaturanga, pushing through to our up dog, pushing back to our down dog, extending the left leg up to the sky this time, lunging through, lifting up into our crescent lunge, hands down to the ground, plank position, bending the elbows, lowering the chest, pushing through to up dog, pushing back to down dog, holding here for a moment before walking the feet back in towards the hands, and lifting back up to the top. We're straight away going to continue with our last round, so folding down to the ground. Hands to our shins, lifting up into gazing pose. Folding back down to the ground, bending your knees well. Step back with the left leg. Stepping back into down dog. Pedaling through your heels. Rounding out through the spine, coming into plank. Bending at the elbows, lowering the chest, pushing up to up dog. Pushing back to down dog. Right leg into the sky, 3-legged dog. Lunging through. Lifting up with the arms, with the chest, pushing into the back heel, crescent lunge. and back into plank. Bending the elbows, lowering the chest, pushing up to up dog, pushing back to down dog. Extending the left leg up to the sky this time, last time. Lunging through, lifting up with the arms, with the chest. Back down to plank. Bending the elbows, swimming up dog, pushing back, down dog. Walking the feet in towards the hands, back to our forward fold. Taking our arms up to the sky, palms meeting at the top and lowering back down. Now our body is thoroughly warmed up, let's come into more forward folds, wide-legged forward folds this time. So we want our toes to be turning in slightly, our heels are slightly further out than feels natural. Hands to our hips as we lengthen through our spine, leading with the chest, folding down to the ground. When we're as far as we can go, we can release the hands back down to the mat. We can stay here, or we can hook our first two fingers around our big toes, thumbs on the outside, widening the elbows, trying to fold even further. Still breathing, stretching into your hips. Relaxing your body into your fold more. Releasing the hands, fingertips underneath the shoulders, lengthening through the spine first. Hands to our hips, then we can lift up the rest of the way. Second time round, interlacing your hands behind your back, leading with the chest, pushing your hips back as we curve our body forwards, allowing your arms to drop overhead to the floor behind. Relaxing your head, relaxing your neck. Still breathing, still lifting up through the kneecaps. Our legs are out wide, but not too wide that we aren't able to still engage the legs. Curving, lifting the chest back up to the top. Last time through, hands are coming back to our hips. We're lengthening through the spine as we curve our body forwards. Folding as far as you can, but this time we're leaving our hands where they are, so we're not dropping our hands down to the ground. We're holding, still breathing, relaxing our neck, relaxing the head. Keeping your hands on your hips, not releasing. Using the strength of your legs and your body, lifting yourself back up to the top. And walking your feet just a little bit closer so we can lift up and lower. We're going to reach our arms up to the sky. We're bending our knees, sweeping our hands along the ground, restacking back up through the spine. We inhale, we lift. Exhale, separating the arms, bending the knees, sweeping along the ground, rolling back up through the spine. Inhale, lifting. Exhale as we fold. Inhale, stacking back up through the spine. Exhale, rounding through. This is a great move to really mobilize the spine, warm up through the legs, the hips, the shoulders, the arms. Last time through. Next time we're down at the bottom, we're just going to place our hands down to the ground. We're going to bend our knees and then we're going to extend our legs as much as we can. Bending through the knees, extending back out through the legs, bending the knees, extending out through the legs. We're warming up more through the hips, more through the back of the legs. From here, let's take your feet out a little bit wider. We're going to lunge over to one side, allowing the foot of the straight leg side just to flex. So the bent knee side, the heel can stay down on the ground or it can lift if you want to make it more comfortable for yourself. We're squatting as low as we can down to that side. And then walking our hands through the middle, let's do exactly the same over at the other side, sinking your bum as low as you can. This is your half yogi squat. We're preparing the hips at one side, but we're also stretching out through the inner thigh of the extended leg. Just walking our hands, our body, shifting the weight across. So this is our option 1. Keeping the hands down. Our option 2 is bringing our hands together in prayer, taking the hands away as we change sides. So moving over to one side and moving over to the other. Controlling the drop, controlling the move. And just because my bum is dropped quite low, it doesn't mean yours has to be. Just work with whatever range of movement your hips, your knees will allow. Trying to keep the chest lifted, the bum low. Still breathing. And lifting back up to the top. From here, we are going to come into our full yogi squat. So we can do this without props or we can do it with. If we're using props, we can have them as high as we need. So I am just going to have one block and one brick stacked on top of each other. Toes are pointing out, knees are pointing out, feet are just a little bit wider than hips, hands together in prayer, then we are squatting our bum as low down as we can. So if you've got the blocks there, you can sit your bum onto the blocks. If you don't, then just have your bum off. Option to lift the heels if it's more comfortable for you. But if you can, we're keeping the heels grounded. We're bringing the elbows to press on the inside of the knees as we bring the hands together in prayer. The spine is long, lifting up with the chest. Feeling the stretch in the hips and the inner thighs. Long through the spine, we are still breathing. You can stay on the support so you can bring yourself off whenever you want to. You can stay still, or if it's okay with your hips, we can take a little wiggle around from one side to the other. Any movement is fine, as long as it's okay with your body. A little wiggle around, like a little dancing frog. And then lifting however's best for you out, shaking out through the hips, moving all the supports off the mat. So we are going to come down to kneeling now. So make the ground as comfortable as you would like for your knee. I'm placing my blanket down. You can have a pillow under, whatever feels more comfortable. Then you have the option of using 2 bricks. I like the bricks there because they just make my arms a little bit longer so I can lift up more with my chest. Let's start by lunging through with our left leg. We're sinking our hips low, hands are down on the supports or the ground, and then we're extending back into a hamstring stretch. So pushing our hips low and forwards into a hip flexor stretch, pushing back into a hamstring stretch. So when we go back into the hamstring stretch, our left foot is flexed and we're taking our left hip back as well, getting our left leg as straight as possible. We can move with our breath as well. We inhale, coming through to the hip flexor stretch, lifting up the chest. Exhale, pushing back into the hamstring stretch. Just going from one to the other with a smooth rocking motion. This is great if you do a lot of running. Next time you're pushed back in your hamstring stretch, we're going to hold there, making sure your hips are level, staying up high, or you can lengthen through the spine and fold your upper body down more. You don't have to though, as long as you feel that stretch in the left leg, that is what's important. If you fold forwards and you suddenly lose the stretch in the leg, then lift up your chest. We are stretching the legs today. We're going to take this stretch but take it one step further. So we're going to extend up onto both legs. So both legs are straight this time. Hips are square, taking the left hip back, right hip forwards. Lengthening through our spine here, or we can fold lower. So you can fold as low as you want, but the important thing is to try and keep both legs as straight as possible, to keep your hips in one line so we're not allowing the left hip to come forwards. The left hip wants to stay tucked back and in. And we are still breathing. Feeling the intense stretch all the way down the back of the left leg here. Coming into our next stretch now, we're coming into our revolved triangle. So we're going to take our brick at the right side and rest our hand on it. Our left thumb is coming into the tailbone and we're drawing our left elbow, left shoulder back as we twist around to the left side. So we're twisting around to the front leg side. Taking the shoulder back, taking the elbow back, and if you can, taking your gaze up to the sky as well, looking over the left shoulder. Stretching more into the IT band now, so still stretching down the back of the left leg, but getting more into the glutes, maybe into the lower back as well. And releasing back to center. Let's come down into our hip flexor stretch now, dropping your right knee down to the ground, pushing our hips low and forwards. We can stay here, lifting up the chest, or we can bring our hands to our front knee, lifting up the chest even more. This is our option 1. Our option 2, if it's okay with your leg, we can bend in our right leg, and we can try and grab hold of the right foot with either one hand or both hands. Still opening up the chest, but now getting a quad stretch as well. If you want to do this stretch but your arms aren't long enough, then just grab a belt, wrap it around the foot instead. Of course, it's only an option, we do not need to hold onto the foot. And releasing back forwards, let's curl our right toes under now and extend up into a high lunge. Your hands can be on the blocks like mine, or you can place them on the floor, whatever's more comfortable for you. Let's bring back the rocking motion we did earlier, so pushing back into a hamstring stretch, pushing forwards into a hip flexor stretch. Just going from one to the other like we did last time. It's exactly the same, we just lifted a little bit higher up this time. Still breathing, rocking from one to the other. Next time we're forwards in our high lunge, we're going to stay there. You have the option to drop the right knee down to the ground whenever you want to. We're going to take both of our arms onto the inside of the left leg, bringing our bricks with us if we have them as well. We're going to stack the bricks up one on top of the other. So you can stay with our hands down on the ground, or we can bring our elbows down to the bricks. We want to keep the left knee hugged in close, we're not letting the knee drop out. You can stay here, we can curl the right toes under and extend out into the right heel. Keeping our hips low, still breathing. You can stay here, or you can drop your supports lower. You can make them higher if you want to. We're still lengthening out through the spine. Staying with this, or if you want to, we can drop our elbows down to the ground. And then releasing. From here, let's take our left foot and just take it a little bit further away from the body and turn our left toes out to the left side. It's just to create more space. Bringing your left hand to the left knee, right hand down on the ground. We're going to lift up and twist around to the left side. We're going to drop down to our right forearm, our right elbow. Still twisting around to the side, you can stay here. Or if you want the option, we can extend our left arm up to the sky and sweep it behind into a baby back bend. Bringing a stretch into the upper body, but still getting the stretch in the lower body. Still breathing. Relaxing your body into the stretch. And releasing back to center. Don't worry, we're not finished with this leg yet. We're going to take our left leg out to the left side. We can keep our hands down to the ground. We can bring our bricks back into play, whatever is more comfortable for you. We're stretching through the inner thigh and through your hip. I'm going to bring my hands to the ground. We're lengthening through our spine. You can stay here or you can push your hips further back. You can drop down to your forearms. We're still long through our spine, long through the neck. And again, the stretch is in the inner thigh and the hip. So as long as you can feel it, your bum does not have to be back onto your heel. I feel more of a stretch when my hips are stacked over the knees or in line with the knees, rather than pushed back. Everybody's different though, so just experiment, be careful, have fun. Be curious about your body. From here, let's come into a pigeon pose. So we're just going to swing our right foot in and send our left foot around and behind. Into our pigeon, we can stay here. Or if you want to, you might want to try and encourage the right foot further forwards. Staying up in a high pigeon or coming down to your sleepy pigeon. Keeping your hips square to the ground. Relaxing here, breathing here. If your pigeon's not a great stretch for you, then just have your knees into 90-degree angles, resting down over the front leg. Finding what works best for you. And as best you can, releasing and lift yourself up into a downward dog. Lengthening up through the spine and then taking a little pedal out through your heels, getting the stretch back in the calves. Easing out the legs. And then coming into our dolly feet, so placing the top of the feet down to the ground. As we extend up into our downward dog. And then coming back down to rest in our child's pose, big toes together, knees wide apart, sitting back on our heels, stretching our arms forwards, resting our head down. When you're ready, lifting your body back up to the top. So one leg down, one leg to go. Bringing our bricks back in, making our knees very comfortable. We're going to lunge through with the right leg this time. And then when we're ready, bringing back our rocking motion. So pushing the hips back, extending out through the right leg and dropping forwards into our hip flexor stretch. Just rocking from one to the other, using our breath. We inhale, lifting up the chest. Exhale, pushing back into our hamstring stretch. And we all have one side that's more flexible than the other, so maybe this is your more flexible side. We need to work our body evenly. What we do to one side, we have to do to the other. Otherwise, we'll just be walking around in circles. Next time you're pushed back in your hamstring stretch, we're going to hold here, drawing the right hip back, lengthening through our spine, and maybe folding with our upper body. Lengthening through our spine, lengthening through the leg, flexing through your right foot, still breathing. Taking our stretch a little bit further, curling the back toes under, lifting up through the legs, into our pyramid pose, drawing our right hip back, left hip forward so our hips are level. Staying here, lengthening through our spine, or maybe dropping the hands down lower. Maybe taking the fold, trying to touch the nose to the knee. As long as both legs are straight, your hips are staying level. Still breathing. Feeling the stretch down the back of the right leg this time. And coming into our revolved triangle pose. So we're placing our left hand down onto a brick if we have it. Our right thumb is coming into the tailbone, drawing your right elbow, right shoulder back, twisting your body around to the right side, taking your gaze over the right shoulder if you can. Still breathing, lengthening as we twist, keeping both legs straight. And releasing back down, dropping your left knee down to the ground, into our hip flexor stretch, dropping our hip low. Our front knee wants to be directly over the ankle as we lift up the chest. Staying here, or if you can, bending in your back leg and holding onto the foot with either one or both hands. Using your belt if you need to, just for the extra length from the arms. And releasing the legs. From here, let's come up into our high lunge, so curling the back toes under, lifting up. Then from here, we're going to bring back our rocking motion, so pushing back up into our hamstring stretch, dropping low into our hip flexor stretch, going from one to the other, rocking forwards and backwards, feeling your legs getting looser, getting longer. The more we stretch, the more we rock out. And moving on, so we can drop the back knee down to the ground again as we move our arms onto the inside of the right leg. Stacking our blocks one on top of the other as high as you need as we bring the elbows down to the blocks, keeping our spine long, staying here or curling your left toes under, pushing into our back heel, keeping our right knee hugged in close, not letting the knee drop out to the side. We can stay with this, we can try and drop our bricks lower. Still breathing. And if you want that final option, we can try and bring our elbows, our forearms down to the ground. And releasing our last stretch here. Let's take our right foot further out to the right side, turning the toes out to the right and twisting around towards the right side. Coming down onto our left elbow, left forearm. Twisting around, staying here or extending the right arm up and behind into our baby back bend. Last breath here, and releasing. Taking our right leg out to the right side, time for our inner thigh and hip stretch. We can stay here, we can come down to our elbows, our forearms. You can push your hips further back if that's better for you to help you get the stretch. Still breathing. And then coming into our pigeon pose, so taking our left foot in on the diagonal as we extend our right foot away and behind. Option to try and shuffle the left foot further forwards. Our hips are level as we stay here, or even as we come into our sleepy pigeon, folding our body forwards. Stretching out through the glutes, through the hips. Remember to keep breathing, relaxing the body, not creating tension. And as best you can, releasing, let's come back into our down dog. Our last down dog, pedaling out through the heels. Stretching, loosening off, back out through the legs. And if you're on the option of coming into the doggy feet again, stretching out the front of the ankles, you can do. Or you can just stay pedaling out through the heels. Whatever feels best for you, this is your last downward dog of the session. When you've had enough, come down to rest in your child's pose, big toes together, knees wide apart, sitting back on your heels, stretching your arms forwards, using your breath to relax your body, to calm your body and to calm your mind. Deepening the inhale, lengthening your exhale. And then just roll your body back up to any comfortable seated position. On your next inhale, circle your arms up to the sky, palms meeting the top, and exhale lower. Inhaling positivity, exhaling any negativity. One more time, this time pausing when your hands meet your third eye. May you always have positive thoughts. Lower your fingertips towards your lips. May you always speak kind words. And lower your hands towards your heart center. May you always have pure intentions. Just bow your chin towards your chest and thank your body for today's practice. And thank you for joining me. Well done. I hope you feel better for it. Like, subscribe, let me know how you get on. As always, stay safe, and me and Jessica will see you next time. Bye guys.